nervous system. And as you know, like any other system, is going to be composed of organs, right? So then the organs in the nervous system are going to be the brain and the spinal cord, right? And we're going to have also nerves. Okay, the nerves are going to be part of the peripheral nervous system, and the brain and the spinal cord, these two are going to be the central nervous system, that and this. Okay, so then regardless of this being the brain or the spinal cord, right, any system that we have is going to be composed of organs, tissues, and tissues are going to be made of cells. So then what are the cells that we have right here in the nervous system, right, that is going to make this central and peripheral nervous system? And that is going to be your neurons, as you can see right here. So this is the main cell that we have in our brain. This one is going to be the neuron. It's one that you see right there. Now, the neuron is going to have some extensions. These short extensions that you see right here, those are going to be the dendrites. Okay, short extensions, dendrites. And when you have long extensions like this, for example, then that's going to be an axon. Okay, so then that's what you say you have right here. So this is the cell body. You can see here the nucleus right there. Right, so then, and this is the cell body, all this in red, it's the cell body. That's what you have right here. Axon is the long extension. This one right here, dendrites are the short extensions. This one and this one. This one's right here, right? Those are going to be the short extensions. So those are the characteristics of the neuron. Those are not the only type of cells that we have in our brain, even though these are the most important ones, because these are the ones that are going to make you think, feel, and process any type of information that you're going to receive from your body and send out of your body. We have other cells that are going to help your brain work together. And these are these little cells, these little dots that you see right here. That's showing you the nucleus of these other cells. These other cells are going to be the neuroglia, as you can see right there, neuroglial cells. So therefore, in our nervous system, we're going to have two main types of cells. We have the neurons and the neuroglia. Right? The neuroglia they are going to help your brain to perform all the functions that it needs to perform that are not related to, let's put it this way, thinking, feeling, right, and moving. Right, so then that's what your neurons are going to do, thinking, feeling, and moving, right? But the neuroglia are going to do everything else, like, for example, fight infections, among other things, right? So then there's multiple different other cells, and all these cells are going to be classified under the neuroglia. Okay, so then what type of neuroglial cells you're going to have? Then you're going to have, for example, astrocytes. You're going to have microglia. For example, the microglia, the ones that fight infections. You're going to have oligodendrocytes, Schwann cell, etc. So these are examples of neuroglial cells. The neuron, and you have in here another example of a neuron. This is the neuron right here. This is the body. This is the nucleus. These are the shorter extensions. These are going to be the dendrites, and this long extension, as I mentioned before, that's going to be the axon. The axon is going to be covered by these balloon-like structures called the myelin sheath. Okay, and as you know, in our brain, we don't have only one neuron, right? We have multiple neurons, so therefore in here, you can see the connection between one neuron, and this is another neuron right here. So if we look over here, neurons can be classified in multiple different ways. One way to classify them is, for example, based on the number of extensions that you're going to have coming out of that cell body. So for example, in here, you see multiple extensions, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? All these extensions right here. Then therefore, that's going to be called multipolar. If you have two extensions coming out of it, as you can see right here, 1 and 2, then that's going to be considered bipolar. Okay, and this one is going to be considered unipolar because you can see here there's only one extension coming out of it. Then it branches out, but there's only one of them. Therefore, it's going to be called unipolar. So again, there's different classifications of neurons, and this is one of them. If we scroll down right here, we can see the relationship between the neurons and the other cells that we have in our brain, as we said, the neuroglia. So right here, you have the neuron, one neuron right here, with the long extensions that we said this is going to be axon. But in there surrounding them, in multiple different locations, you're going to see the other type of neurons. Like, for example, you have another one in here. So this is going to be a neuroglia. This is another cell that belongs to the neuroglia. This one is another cell that belongs to the neuroglia. Okay, and they're going to have their own names with their own functions. And that's what we have right here. And this is what I mentioned before. And the cells that are going to be part of the neuroglia are going to be astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, microglia, ependymal cells, Schwann cells, and satellite cells. Astrocytes are going to be neuroglia that are going to form the blood-brain barrier. Okay, the blood-brain barrier is going to protect your brain, not allowing, for example, toxins and microorganisms such as bacteria to enter your brain, because as the name says, it's going to form a barrier right here. Oligodendrocytes are cells that are going to provide myelin, but they're going to provide myelin in the central nervous system. Schwann cells are going to do the same thing. They're going to produce the myelin sheath, but in the peripheral nervous system, in other words, in the nerves. Microglial cells, I mentioned that the microglial cells are the ones that are going to fight infections. Ependymal cells, they're going to produce fluid. In our brain and in our spinal cord, we're going to have a fluid. This fluid is going to be called the cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid is going to be created by the ependymal cells. I already talked about the astrocytes, which one of the main functions it's going to have is forming the blood-brain barrier. The satellite cells. Okay, the satellite cells are going to help and support the neurons that are going to be located in the peripheral nervous system. Okay, so then, for example, it's going to regulate the extracellular fluid around these cells that are going to be in the peripheral nervous system. We keep moving right here. It talks about the myelin sheath. Remember, we said that the myelin sheath is mainly composed of fats, okay, and it's going to be produced by the oligodendrocytes and the Schwann cell. Maybe scroll down right here. For example, this is an oligodendrocytes, and you can see in there how they are going to form these balloon type of structures, this light blue color right there. Right, that's going to be the myelin sheath that wraps around the axon. The axon, you see that in yellow right there. The axon is right there in yellow. Now, there's going to be gaps in between the myelin sheath, as you can see right here. Right, there's going to be these gaps. There's a gap in there. There's another one in here. There's another one in there. Right, that's going to be called the node of Ranvier, as you can see right there. If you look at this figure right here, this is a real picture, right? And we are looking at this using the microscope, right? And you can see here, this is a myelin sheath right there. This right here, you can see the gap in there, which is going to be the node of Ranvier.